I feel like I'm starting to despise Platonic because of Season 2. Even if Rose Byrne is particularly excellent in episode 4, and the show is still well made with a few extremely amusing lines, it's strange to say that I'm so tired with Will. I specifically brought out his clothing, which still irritates me, but that's only the beginning. To the disadvantage of the program as a whole, every plot point involving him is just so convoluted, time-consuming, and reliant on him being an emotionally immature, indecisive man-child that it's beginning to really irritate me. All of the issues I have with Will's character are reflected in Platonic. His removal of the will they won't they will, Jenna marriage plotline. As you may remember from the last episode, he had convinced Sylvia to drive him to San Diego in order to end his relationship with Jenna because they weren't physically intimate. As expected, they are thrown into a reluctant game of golf as soon as they arrive, which unexpectedly takes a turn for the worst when Will inadvertently maims Hank, Jenna's father. Despite her sense that this is a bad idea, Sylvia decides to stay in San Diego and organize the wedding, which necessitates making snap decisions that Will and Jenna cannot agree on. Along with cuisine and music, this also includes, and this is very important, who will be officiating the wedding. They agree to an interfaith gathering where they are both essentially present, along with a DJ and a live band, since Jenna wants a priest and Will wants a rabbi. This wedding isn't going to work, could as well be the sign that Will is clutching. Jenna acknowledges she's not a particularly sexual person, and Will decides to be candid about their infrequent sex life at some time in Platonic Season 2, Episode 4. But she doesn't mind that at all. And that's it. She thinks the issue is settled. She doesn't really consider acknowledging Will's desire for greater intimacy or providing an explanation for why she was so attracted to her dad's partial blindness. Will decides to call off the wedding again the following day, this time an hour prior to the ceremony, since the issue is simply dismissed. Maybe not, considering Sylvia ends up ruining the wedding. Sylvia simply blurts out that she shouldn't marry Will because his head isn't in it, not realizing that Jenna was worried about the fascinator, and she was right to. It looks ridiculous. Jenna calls her for advice because she's beginning to change her mind. Her sarcastic remark to Sylvia at the end of episode 2 seems to have been completely forgotten by both of them. She cancels the wedding and punches Will in the face in front of everyone after finding out that he traveled to San Diego in the first place to end their relationship. To be honest, I really enjoyed this section. The wedding is off, and Will doesn't appear to hold Sylvia particularly responsible because it's what he wanted in the end, which does give the impression that the entire affair was a little useless. What comes next? Since Sylvia promises to organize Charlie's company's yearly party after Will advises her to become more corporate, 4 presents yet another possible angle regarding her event planning company. Stewart, who excelled in Season 1 and hasn't worked here, finally hires her despite his reluctance to combine their working lives. That might be enjoyable. My only hope is that Will isn't involved.